Good afternoon and welcome. You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharu Sukumar Singha. Just before we start off, let's take a look at your top stories this afternoon.
Is the government ready to close down the country?
ඒක ජනාධිපතිතුමාට එක දවසකදී විනාඩි කිහිපයකදී ගන්න පුළුවන් තීරණයක්.
The number of towns closed down voluntarily increases. Taliban seeks no revenge and all Afghans will be forgiven.
In your lead story this afternoon, all political parties of the Samagi Jana Balawege have called on the public to implement a self-imposed lockdown subject to medical advice and guidance.
The World Health Organization and both local and international virologists are requesting the country to be placed in a lockdown immediately. Leaders of these parties recall that New Zealand set an example to the world by imposing a lockdown immediately when one locally transmitted case was reported. The affiliated parties of the Samagi Jana Balawege request the government to put an end to the contradictory statements of ministers and the contradictory gazettes and media announcements that move towards a program that can control the pandemic.
Traders in a number of areas across the country are continuing to voluntarily close down their shops as a measure to combat the rapid spread of COVID-19 in the country. Accordingly, the Batapola town was closed down for a week as per the decision of the Batapola Industrial Services and Trade Association. All shops in Diulapitia and Badrugoda have remained closed for a week. The Maradagamulla town was also closed for a week as per a decision reached by the Maradagamulla United Traders Union. The Ambalanthota Traders Association has also decided to close all shops in Ambalanthota for a week. The Ratnapura Palle Bedda and Udavalava towns have also been closed and only public financial institutions in the towns remain open. The Yatavatta town in Mathale was also closed for a week. Meanwhile, the Trincomalee Municipal Council, Pradesh Sabha and traders unions have decided to close all shops in the Trincomalee Municipal Council area and in the Trincomalee town and Gravats areas from 6 p.m. yesterday. The decision was taken by the Ruanbella Pradesh Sabha and the Traders Association. The Chilao Municipal Council that convened for a special monthly meeting yesterday decided to close down the Chilao town for a week starting from the 22nd. Meanwhile, several shops in Peta have also been temporarily closed down from today. Meanwhile, the Traders Association has decided to close down the Tabuttegama Special Economic Centre for 7 days. At present, 40 employees of 16 outlets at the Economic Centre have tested positive for COVID-19. The Akurasa Traders Association has also decided to close down their shops in light of the current situation in the country. The Traders Association closed down all shops starting from today to support the current measures taken to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic.
මොකද්ද මේ රෝගය පාලනය කර ගැනීම නම් කිසි ලොක්ඩවුන් එකට එනවා නම් නිර්ණායකේ අනුගාමී මරණ 1000ක් වෙලා රෝගී 5000ක් දිනකට වාර්තා වී මොකද්ද ඒකට උතුමාල නිර්මාණය
එහෙම නිර්ණායකයක් නැහැ සමහර රටවල
There are no conditions like that. In some countries, lockdowns are imposed when one case is detected in the community. That is a decision taken by those countries after taking into consideration the social, economical and other factors in those countries. There have been instances where countries have had millions of patients and tens of thousands of deaths and still not placed the country under lockdown. We cannot label these decisions as right or wrong. These decisions must be made collectively. Even I do not consider any of these decisions as final.
හැටියට මමත් සලකන්නේ නැහැ.
මේ සමාජයේ මිනිස්සු ගැන තිලිම් කර මේ මොහොතේ
This time the general public is also requesting a lockdown to be imposed. Even they agree that the spread of the virus cannot be prevented without going for a lockdown. What is the government doing? They just impose inter-provincial travel restrictions to show that they've done something to curb the spread of the virus. When the virus is detected in every province and the Delta variant is present in every province, it is clear that simply imposing travel restrictions between these provinces is unscientific. The government only believed in myths. The army and fake doctors like Dhammika and his tonic. They believed in a nutmeg tonic that was introduced by a thief who hadn't even studied the science of pacification. The fake doctor who claims to be the state doctor took so-called blessed pots and drop them into the rivers. The Department of Ayurveda does not even recommend the Dhammika tonic as a food supplement. It's poisonous. Who is in the government is responsible for sponsoring the poison to the people of this country. Now, if you say that you want to get a mustard seed from a house without COVID, it's come to a point where it's impossible to do so.
The Association of Specialist Family Physicians said that over 14,000 people are currently being cared for under the integrated home-based isolation and management of asymptomatic and mild symptomatic COVID-19 patients program. This virus can infect a person's body for a period of 2 weeks, and after that a person may begin to experience some complications which could lead even to death. During the first week we examine these patients, and if the possibility of them experiencing any complications is low, we take care of them and provide them with medical advice on how to prevent any complications during the second week. So far 14,278 patients have been cared for under this program. 4,433 people are currently receiving care under this program. 359 people were hospitalized when the need arose. No deaths have been reported among patients receiving treatment at home under this program.
Meanwhile, the vaccination program is being carried out today at 198 centres island-wide with the assistance of the Sri Lanka Army. The first dose as well as the second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine will be administered today at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo. Inoculation of the vaccines against COVID-19 is also being carried out at the Diyatha Uyana premises today. The second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine will be administered today in Kalutara, Badulla, Kilinochchi, Anuradhapura and Mullaitivu districts. The second dose of the AstraZeneca will be administered today at the Army Hospital, and the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine will be administered today at the Mannar Regional Health Office in the Mannar district, as well as the Office of the Medical Officers held in Mantei West. At present, 1,307,782 people in the country have received the first dose of the AstraZeneca Covishield vaccine. Meanwhile, 872,904 people have been given the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine was administered to 9,478,735 individuals, and the second dose was administered to 4,028,984 individuals. So far, 159,081 people have been administered with the first dose of the Sputnik vaccine, while 14,517 people were administered with the second dose of the vaccine. The first dose of the Pfizer vaccine has been administered to 252,490 people, and the second dose has been given to 39,883 people. Only 765,651 first doses of the Moderna vaccine have been administered to date. Meanwhile, the Commander of the Army, General Shavindra Silva, says that more than 2,000 senior citizens and disabled persons above the age of 60 years have been vaccinated at home through the mobile vaccination program.
Views were expressed in the political arena about the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country and the cabinet reshuffle. My father suffered an untimely demise at the hands of COVID-19. I always consider this, and I say this to media as well. This was a murder. People are being murdered today. From the very beginning, this government did not do the right thing at the right time for the betterment of the people, the country, and uplifting the livelihood of the people. They did everything that must be done to strengthen their power without any delay. The pandemic is at a stage where about 3 to 4 people are dying every hour. When comparing with the population as a ratio, Sri Lanka has one of the highest death rates in the world. The inability to manage these issues must be looked into. As a party in the government, we urge the government to find scientific solutions to these issues. It is not the government that should find solutions, but specialists. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is of the stance that this is not a cabinet reshuffle that is required right now, but a proper policy decision on these issues.
They have not done anything to curb the spread of the virus. Now they are sending ships to India to bring down oxygen. They have kept the crematoriums open throughout. They let the virus spread and admit the patients in hospitals. Some patients have been left at their own homes and the others are taken to crematoriums. These are the kind of decisions they have made. We do not see them taking any decision to rid the society from this pandemic. There is no point in changing the pillow when you have a headache. What you have to do now is pay heed to the health experts. The World Health Organization and the Sri Lanka Medical Association have advised the government. But it doesn't seem like the government is listening to them. Instead, they have changed the Minister of Health. I saw a youngster has shared a good post about the newly appointed health minister on social media. He says that the government has finally done a good thing by appointing a health minister who has a direct contact with God.
රජය කරපු හොඳම දේ තමයි මෙච්චර කාලයක් ඉඳලා දැන් මේ අදාළ සෞඛ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයාට ඇමතිකම ලබා දීම. මොකද එතුමාට විතරයි තියෙන්නේ දෙයියෝ බුදුන් එක්ක ඩිරෙක්ට් කන්ටැක්ට් එකක්.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara, spoke about the steps that should be taken to curb the spread of the pandemic in the country at a media briefing held today.
පක්ෂ සභාපතිතුමා විශේෂ ඉල්ලීමක් කරා සර්වපාක්ෂික සමුළුවක්.
The chairman of our party made a special request to convene an all-party conference. We believe that it is important to consider the views of specialist doctors at this all-party conference. Also, economists should attend the conference and present their views on the situation. The views of all political parties on these issues are important if we are to develop this country. The Honourable President was of the view that all political parties should discuss and decide on a way out of this economic crisis.
මේ ආර්ථික අර්බුදයෙන් ගොඩ එන්න රට නැවත ගොඩ ගන්න පුළුවන් සමස්ත වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අපි සියලුම පක්ෂ එකතු වෙලා සාකච්ඡා කළ යුතුයි කියන අදහස් තමයි අධිකරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කරේ.
Up next is Crime Watch.
The driver of a tractor was shot this morning in Batiklo. The incident had taken place at 6:30 a.m. in Karadianaru, Batiklo. According to the villagers, the gunman had opened fire while a group was mining sand this morning. It was reported that a person who visited the sand mining site had requested for the license allowing sand mining. Two individuals who were at the location had fled, leaving the driver of the tractor behind. Following a verbal altercation, the third party had opened fire at the driver of the tractor. The investigation into the matter is being carried out by the Karadianaru police.
News from the courts this afternoon. Fort Magistrate Priyantha Linege ordered for former Minister Rishad Badiuddin, who was arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, to be remanded until the 1st of September.
When the case was taken up today, S.N. Sahir, appearing for former Minister Rishad Badiuddin, said that he expects to make a special representation in court. He requested for the next hearing date of the case to be called within a short period of time. After considering the facts presented, the magistrate ordered for the case to be taken up again on the 26th of August.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says it has observed messages being circulated claiming that licensed banks have been officially asked to devalue the Sri Lanka rupee with immediate effect.
The CBSL statement added, the general public is hereby informed that there is no basis whatsoever for such claims and the CBSL has not made any change to its stance or the operational arrangements on the determination of the exchange rate. The public is also advised not to rely on false and misleading information that is being circulated through social and conventional media. The central bank went on to note that any official statement issued by the CBSL will be made by the governor, deputy governor or any other authorized official of the CBSL identified by name and designation.
On to your weather update this afternoon. The Department of Meteorology states showers will occur at times in western and Sabragamu provinces and in Galle, Matra, Kandy and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in Ampara and Batiklo districts after 2 p.m. Cloudy skies can be expected in the northern province as well.